Hey everybody, this is Tony, and I'm back today with a very special guest. My next guest is one third of one of the longest running girl groups in history. And she is here today to just be herself and
Uh-huh.
talk about her amazing voice and career. So, ladies and gentlemen, just help me welcome Miss Valerie Holiday. How you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing fine, thank you. And you?
Yes, I'm doing quite well. Thank you so much.
Good. Good.
Of course, people, if they don't know you, like I said, you had a long-standing career with the Three Degrees, and you even have your own solo music out as well. I want to talk
Mhm.
about that as well. But how does it feel to be in this place today and be celebrating almost, well, yeah, celebrating 60 years of the Three Degrees? How does that feel after all this time, and to see how people still respond to you guys?
It feels strange and wonderful. The fact that we've been able to continue for this long. I'm very grateful from the very beginning for the songbook that Kenny and Leon blessed us with
That's
because it
right.
uh, what has been our really mainstay, and it's been great. It's been great. The fans are fantastic. We've traveled. I feel blessed.
Yes. The,
Yes.
the Three Degrees have, in my opinion, I don't understand how a group can have so much style, elegance, and the class that you guys had, and not be. I felt like you should have been as big as the Supremes, really. Like, where did the ball fall at that we couldn't get this happening?
Well, I think our manager Richard Barrett. I have to lay the responsibility of
Yeah.
that at his feet because the Supremes stateside are huge,
Yes.
and I think because the similarity that was what we were always been being compared to,
Hmm.
and really it to be known that the comparison stopped at three black females who were, coiffed in these gorgeous gowns and everything. He wanted them to know that we were an individual in within the group. There were three individual personalities. There were three different voice styles.
Yeah.
So he wanted to let them know that when we hit the stage, everybody had the opportunity to sing a lead. There was not really a lead singer as they would like to put it. The records, yes, were led
Hmm.
by Ferguson, but when you hit the stage, you did more than just your records.
That's
So
right.
it gave Fayette and I the opportunity to display our talents as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I
Absolutely.
think that's mainly why we couldn't get from behind, so we had to go someplace else and kind of make our own little mark.
Yeah, yeah. And before I go any further as well, I need to point this out that you guys also have a Guinness Book of Records um record for being the longest running female vocal group in history. That's very, very big. And you guys are the only one who has it, of course. So how I think a lot of that has to do with you, obviously, carrying the group for so long and remaining a member, obviously. So, how do you maintain being in a group for so long and still loving what you do?
You with the help of the other two people that stand beside you. Everyone has to have the same goal. And fortunately enough, whenever there were replacements, we were able to put a person in place who also had that same goal that you did to. When you hit that stage, you give them 100%. And like I said, the music that we recorded, Sheila Fayette and myself, was timeless. It is timeless. The lyrics, the music, everything it's not dated,
Right.
Anybody 14, 10. I mean, the age group that we appear before is very wide. And we are very, blessed for having that. The song appeal is to everyone because there's a song in there that fits everyone.
That's right.
And the music, it is about life.
Yeah.
And it's not, that does not pigeonhole it to one story or one genre, you know, one situation. It makes it able then to fit anywhere, anytime, you know, in
Yeah.
any occasion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Before we get to the big stuff, like the hits, um, I something I didn't realize is that Richard Berry was managing you guys for so long, and that you guys were involved with Roulette Records as well.
Mhm, mhm.
A lot of us came to know about Roulette Records, of course, good or bad, through through like the Funky Lyman story, and things like that. Of course, Morris Levy, who headed Roulette Records, had dealings with Sugar Hill Records, and people found out through that kind of stuff too. So,
Mhm.
but did you guys have any interactions or anything like that with any of the teenagers or Frankie Lyman during that time?
No, no.
Okay,
We
okay,
we were sequestered.
okay, okay. But
Richard
yeah,
was on a pretty tight leash.
okay, okay. I can imagine, of course. Three, yeah, I can imagine. But when you came in the business, with the other ladies, and you got into the group, Richard was already there managing you guys.
Mhm.
But in your mind, was there a business sense already? Did you have any idea what was to come as far as business was concerned?
He told me from the very beginning. Well, when I went to the club to see the ladies,
Hmm.
I thoroughly enjoyed the performance. I enjoyed the variety of songs, you know, and when asked, you know, would you really be interested in doing this? And I thought, well, yeah, because I like to sing, and you guys are really good. You know, this like something I'm tired. I don't want to be out here by myself because it's no
Right.
fun. Because I was originally a solo artist as well, and so joining them, it made it good because you had somebody else to be with. We would sit for hours and rehearse because we wanted to. We all had the same objective in mind, and that was as close to perfection as possible. Whether
Hmm.
it routine or whether it was a song, we would sit down and work on different harmonies. We kind of got to know each other's voices, and we were able to blend so seamlessly on some of the songs. We did a recording of MacArthur Park where you really don't know where one voice ends and the other begins.
Yes.
And that came from hours and hours of rehearsal. And at that particular time, you know, at the very beginning when we started in '63,
Hmm.
there is, I'm sure Fayette had a very hard time trying to find somebody to be as dedicated to the craft as she was.
Of course.
Okay, and as time progressed, Sheila came in, and Helen came in, and Janet, different people added their flavor to the group. And at that particular time, the idea was, if you don't rehearse, if you don't work on it, then it won't get any better. So
Hmm.
when I came into the group, they had already kind of gotten settled in a schedule per se. When you got up in the morning, you had breakfast. We were all in one room, and you, when you finished the breakfast, you sat down and you started rehearsing. That was the balance of your day. You get up and have a lunch, but you still be working on things. Well, you know what? I heard this note for this song, and we were singing this. I think we should do that. So we would input ideas, and whatever we were told, whenever you record or sing, perform another person's material, you cannot go out there and do it exactly like they do, because if they wanted to hear a copy, they'd listen to the original.
That's
So
right.
you have to take that song, and we would always say we 3 degree it. We 3 degree guys, everything. You had to add, we had to add our interpretation of what the songs sounded and meant and felt, to, in order to be able to deliver that to the audience, to give them our view on that.
Yes.
So we just kind of got into the habit of doing that, and we enjoyed it. We did
Hmm.
enjoy it.
I can imagine. But and I'm glad that you pointed that out too, as far as covering songs, how you guys did.
Mm.
I listened earlier to the international album from 1975 on Gamble and Huff's label, and I listened to the cover of "Distant Lover" that you guys did. Now I love that song because it didn't sound like the original. It sounded like a song that you guys actually came up with on your own.
Thank
And
you.
that's refreshing to actually hear, because so many people want to do it as, you know, the original artist.
Marvin Gaye did it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I love that, you know, when an artist really takes control and really makes something their own. Don't, you know, don't just copy, because I already, like you said, I can go listen to the original if that's the case.
yeah.
So you guys really, really, I can tell you perfected your craft and really thought about what you were doing. Or if not, somebody was thinking for you.
It was us. We will take responsibility for any and all of our vocals. We did not have somebody coming in and saying, okay, well, you sing this and you sing that, and let's see how that sounds. No, we would sit there, each one, and go through it and say, okay, you know what, I hear this doing that, or can we try this? You know, and
Yeah.
see what, you know what, you sound better here, so you sing this piece here, and then I'll come in and take over that piece, which made it more interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of the group's history, before you came in, like you said, there were a few other ladies,
Mm-hmm.
and the group had probably, I think, released a few singles, but not an
Yeah,
album. Once
yes.
you came in, that's when Sheila came in as well as Fayette Pinckney, and then you guys recorded on Philly International, an album afterwards. Um, that first album with Gamble and Huff, though, what was that experience like, if you remember? Because of course this is a new label, the group wasn't as new, because I think you had been in there a few years at that point, but still this
Yeah,
was a different experience. So what was that
yeah.
like?
We had already worked with Roulette Records by then. We'd already
Right.
gone to Warner Brothers. I think we'd made the rounds just about every label there was to be, and Richard was not satisfied, so but we kept shopping, and finally came to Gamble and Huff. It was good because the songs that they gave us were to us perfect, because you like, I love lyrics, and
Yes.
therefore I like songs that have a story to
Mm-hmm.
it, because then it makes it easier to perform that song. You know, you put yourself in that writer's place,
That's
and to interpret what he or she, you know, was trying to say. So working with Gamble and Huff was really refreshing. It really
yeah,
was.
I can imagine. I think it's always a great thing to have a marriage of an artist and writers who really know those artists to be able to match
Mm,
you with songs that really fit.
a lot
Um,
easier.
right, right. And so, of course, when we see things happen like that, we get like, "When Will I See You Again?" Uh, One of the group's biggest songs, of course. Now, let me say this: this is a song that has stood the test of time, time and time again. And in fact, I tell you no lie, I was literally standing outside of Walmart just about 2 weeks ago, and on the speaker, there came "When Will I See You Again?" So that just comes to show you how wonderful and great a song that is
Yeah,
still playing right now in 2023.
yeah.
I'm sure you can't escape that song even if you try.
And I wouldn't try.
But was there ever a point in your life that you said, you know what, I'm tired of hearing this song?
No, because it mirrors what we feel. It
Yeah.
mirrors what I feel.
Yeah.
Because you meet, life is moves so quickly sometimes
Hmm.
that only are able to hold on to moments. And when you meet people that leave an impression on you, you wonder, you know, am I ever going to be able,
Right.
if I ever see this person again? You know, we had such fun when we did this, that, and the other. So it is something that, you know, it really fits into my life, because it's a question that I'm constantly asking.
Hmm. Hmm. I love that. Something I didn't realize until I actually read it was that the song only asks a series of questions.
Yes.
And it's crazy how that's put together, how that's put together, but it fits so well and it makes sense. When I
Genius.
hear that song, it can fit in a variety of situations. I mean,
Mhm.
you probably have someone in the army might want to use that song, or somebody who, you know, just lost somebody, or it can fit in a variety of things, you know what I'm saying? So,
And budding romance.
right, of course, definitely that. On the original song, Sheila Ferguson, of course, sings the lead, but
Hmm.
I listened to a version that you did, singing the lead, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And the
Well, thank you.
reason why is because it was something totally different. And what I mean by that is your voice has such a lower tone and husky and sultry tone.
You saw a live performance, I assume.
Yes, yes, that's what it was. So I love that you were still able to cover that song and it still kept its original essence because
You have
sometimes you can cover something but it doesn't fit, you know?
to. Mhm.
And some things it's so big that you're like, I shouldn't touch that. But of course, this is you guys' history, so you have to do it. Will probably go crazy if not.
Plus, yes, and then the melody itself is so simple and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much for that,
Mhm.
for lending your voice as a whole. Thank you for your contribution to American music as a whole as well. But Americans aren't the only ones who love you guys because the British love you guys as well.
And we're
Um,
so happy.
you guys performed for Prince Charles, I understand, and became kind of friends with him in a way, I would say. What was that experience like going overseas to perform for the British royal family?
And that was a time that it was beautiful because not having met any of the people who are in government here to
Yeah,
go to a different country where this is history. Okay, we're not talking somebody that every 4 or 5 whatever years they're shifted and somebody else comes in.
that's
This
right.
is an establishment that has been there, I don't, for years and years and years, and to be able to go into a building that you've seen in history books,
Yeah.
and you meet this lady that you read about in those books, and it was very mind-blowing to be accepted so warmly,
Hmm.
and not to be made to feel that the gulf that was between you was there. They're so friendly and warm. It did you didn't you had respect because you knew who they were,
That's right.
but they were people, and it made it really, really nice.
Yes, yes. I always love to hear artists, even some artists say they get more of a response from overseas audience, and especially if they haven't had a hit out or something current. A
Yeah,
lot of artists feel more appreciated overseas. And
it's
I've
very
I've
true.
seen that even in just videos, you can see how people react. Just like you released a song yesterday, they almost react.
Yes,
Uh,
they do.
they appreciate music so much more. I think I'm gonna be honest, than we do here. Like over,
Cherish your artist more.
yeah, yeah. Over here is like
And
if
because you had a hit in the past 5 years or 3 days, you're not forgotten.
that's right, that's right. But it's a blessing that what I learned is sometimes when we think that we've been forgotten or somebody's not listening or somebody doesn't care, that there's always somebody who does. And those kind of people prove that even as people here in the States too, but those kind of people prove that thing when you can go and stand out in front of a crowd of 10,000 people and they're singing every word. They're treating you like you just became a new artist again. Like
Yeah.
that has to be amazing feeling to still be,
It,
appreciated.
it's very mind-blowing. It's like when we're getting ready in September to do, I think it's a 31 or 32-day tour.
Hmm.
And after you get into that second or third week, you start flagging because of the time difference and the schedule that you're keeping. But the minute you hit that curtain and those lights, it's like the warmth that
Hmm.
you get from that crowd, the reaction. It's like it's an instant boost to the energy,
That's
and
right.
they just lift you up, and they just kind of keep you there the entire time because it's very euphoric.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is, and I absolutely love it. I keep saying, okay, maybe it's time to kind of put the shoes, put the sequins on, and hang them up, and be happy being a grandmother. But when you I interact with our friends, and they're saying, okay, we bought 15 tickets we're going to be here, and oh my gosh, And then when you walk out there and you see those faces at the different places that you go, and they're not all necessarily near each other. Sometimes it's a 3 or 4 hour drive. They will come in and book a hotel and come see the show and have dinner afterwards. And it's really it's great. It's great. It makes you feel honored. It makes you feel really, ooh.
You all deserve that though. Especially when you paid your dues, you put in the time. Um, in these years, I would think that you should be able to enjoy them more than anything.
Mm.
Especially because in the early years, I'm sure you had to fight so hard in your mind, not physically, probably sometimes you might have had to, but in your mind more than anything because you're dealing with other people who has
Yeah.
control in a way.
Yeah.
You're dealing with other members who has, their own opinion.
Own agenda. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to fight against that sometimes because they're like, no, I don't want to do that. And you saying we should.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
you have all of that. I can only imagine what that might be like. I've not been in a singing group, but I've been in
Mm.
a friends group, and that was enough.
It's very stressful. It's because you think to yourself, we all have the same goal in mind? Is this
Right.
not the object here?
Yeah.
So why are you fighting me on this? Or why
Hmm.
can't I cooperation in doing that? But yeah, I always say that all the time that you spend on stage kind of keeps you able to deal with everything that's outside of that,
Right. Right. Right.
because that is your high right there.
Hmm.
Okay. And when you think, okay, if I could just get to the show this evening, everything will be fine. You just forget about all that and just do what you do.
Right. Yeah, because music does help a lot. It does heal. And
It
I
does.
think sometimes I'm just watching and seeing shows from different groups and things like that. And
Mhm.
even when you hear about the internal problems that they have, when
Mhm.
a lot of them can still get on stage and perform like nothing's happening, and you can look at them and
You're supposed to leave everything at the curtain, okay? When you
right,
hit, as we call it, the tarmac, when you hit the tarmac, no, that's all that matters.
yeah, yeah. But you can look at them and see that in some of their eyes sometimes that they're like, you know what, this is what I'm here for. Like
Yes.
that's what's important. That these people are here screaming our names and singing our songs and going along with us. Like this is what I'm here for. And I think sometimes even when groups break up, that's what fans try to push for so much more. And the group is like,
They
I don't
do.
even talk to that person. Why are you guys talking to me about it?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, but it's crazy. So I want to go back a little bit and go over the career some more. Um when you guys signed to Philly International, you guys put out had a string of hits. But you
Mhm,
had other songs, of course. Then When Will I See You Again? Like this, Your
mhm.
Decision, If and When. Um, Dirty Old Man, of course, was released, I think, as the first one, if I remember right.
Yeah, yeah.
I Love Being a Woman. You guys did a bunch of songs, a lot of great songs, really. Take Good Care of Yourself is one that I like as well. Um, it sounded similar in the melody a little bit to When Will I See You Again, but something totally different.
Mhm.
So I love that song as well. What's some of the songs that you love to perform outside of When Will I See You
Ooh. Gosh. I
Again?
didn't know is a fun one that we've not done it for a few tours, but we're gonna throw it in there this trip.
Okay.
Uh, we the stuff that we have from the Areola period as well. Woman in Love,
Yeah.
The Runner, Giving Up, Giving In.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some of the ones. We even do a cover on Disco Inferno, so we're gonna throw that one in there as well.
All right. All right. That works. That works.
Yes, but we try to incorporate some of the older material that and sprinkle it in between. But
Mm-hmm.
always there's a demand for certain ones, so therefore you got to do them. You got to do
That's right. That's right. Because if not, you don't want to be ran out of the stadiums.
them. No, we recently recorded a tribute to Philadelphia. We entitled the album "Strategy,"
Right.
and we did. Billy Paul's. We switched it around to me and Mr.
Yeah,
Jones
I listened
instead.
to that one earlier, and I loved your take on that.
Lou
Because
Rawls' You'll Never Find.
yeah, yeah, ain't no stopping us now. Which McFadden and Whitehead did. You guys had let me see, Love Train on there.
Uh,
If you don't know me by now, Don't Leave Me This Way. I liked that one as well too. Don't Leave Me This Way.
Good.
You'll Never Find Another Love, and you guys had what else? TSOP on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
All good songs, all classic songs by Philly international artists, of course. What made you choose those songs specifically, though? I'm curious.
We hadn't. Well, I think our manager, business manager, kind of sifted through and said, I think these would hit down, would go down well on a tribute album, and it worked out well. It worked out well.
Okay, okay.
We wanted to stay in that Philadelphia vibe.
Right, right. Well, let me tell you, me and Mr. Jones, I liked your take on it because, again, the way that you know how to approach a song is immaculate, and your voice fitting that song, it it just went with it like butter. Like I love that.
Mhm.
Of course, everybody knows that as soon as you hear that song come in, that dun 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 dun, dun, you already know what that song is before he even
Yeah,
said the word.
yeah,
So that's so classic, and for you to sing it and switch it to me and Mr. Jones, I love that little take on it.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. But so let me go back just a little bit. I can't keep
Mhm.
you all day, so I want to try to get through this. So much history here. um in the 70s, when you guys were signed to Philly International, like I said, you guys put out a string of hits, string of albums. And then I understand that Richard Barrett was no longer in the picture, like towards the early 80s for you guys.
Mhm.
What was that period like? Because I understand that it seems like you guys relied on him a lot because he had pretty much groomed you to his liking, I would say. So what was that period like for you to turn around and say, hold on now, we have to find somebody who fits us and find somebody who fits that spot again?
It was very frightening because because of the person that Richard was, we did not really have a full grasp on the business side of the group. So therefore, we had to kind of rely on people that he had utilized to kind of help us kind of ferret through
Right.
what we needed to get done. And it took us a moment. It took us a moment, and I think because of the way he managed, he groomed, what he told us to do and not to do, we kind of had, kind of a scale to kind of go by,
Right.
to help us figure out, okay, we need to do this because Richard did that and he used to do that, so let's do that. So we kind of pieced it together kind of like that way. We're able to find a friend to kind of stand in front of us and
Yeah.
kind of be our what do you call it, our protector, to kind of go out and do, because a lot of times the agents and people, they don't really like to talk to the artists. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you kind of need a front person to go in there and represent, which is what we got. We would tell him, okay, we want this and we don't want that and want this and this. And you go tell them that's what we want. And it worked out for a while there.
Yeah. Um, in the 70s and in the 80s, really as well, even in the 90s, with girl groups, a lot of times what people would do as far as the members, especially if there were three, they would kind of put the other two members as background in their minds and make one person a lead singer. Now I heard you say before that there really wasn't one because you always saying lead, but on record it kind of seemed that way. um, Sheila Ferguson, of course, pretty much seemed like the lead on record, of course.
Yes.
And when she left, I can imagine there was kind of a void there because of that. Or how did you guys manage to, one, fulfill her spot, and then two, still carry on what you already had with somebody else taking over what would have been quote unquote the lead?
Well, it was very difficult to find somebody to step in because of what the way that we conducted business, the choreography and song, and you had to find the right vocal. Uh, you couldn't just
Yeah.
stick another soprano in it because we already had one. So it was like you had to get the right voicing and somebody whose personality kind of meshed with the other two because you are constantly in each other's pocket whether you like it or not. You spend 24/7, damn near 365, so you got to really kind of like each other. Sometimes yes, we try to be as honest with each other as without being cruel,
Right.
as possible, because you can't hold on to things and not come clean, because then you're holding grudges and there's attitudes, and that's not a way to run business.
Yeah.
And as you can see, we did have to go through a whole bunch of people before we finally, found someone in Cynthia Garrison, who was with us for 20 years. So it was like, it was hard, but we managed to find her, and it worked out for quite some time. She was there up until physically, she had gotten into an accident when she was like 30, and
Mhm.
and car accident, and it really kind of came back to visit. As your grandmother always say, if you hurt something now, when you get older, it's going to come back and say hello. Remember when you did this?
Right.
So like it got to the point where her health would not allow her to continue, and that once again was a stopping period, because then, okay, now we have to find somebody else. But we were vigilant in our prayers.
Yeah.
And the young lady that joined us had already been in a group, so she already knew Freddie Poole. She knew the group situation, and she had just finished with the former ladies of the Supremes. So we asked, okay, would you be willing? Would you want to join our little troop and help us make this three number again? And she said yes, and she has been there ever since. Unfortunately, Helen caught COVID
Right.
and has not she has not had a good recovery.
Mm.
So, but she didn't leave me standing alone. She ferreted out and found somebody to stand in, and Tabitha King is the young lady that's with us now, and she's proven to be it's a good match. It's a good match.
Yes, yes.
We
Thank God
haven't
for
pulled
that.
we haven't pulled out each other's hair, so we're still good. We're still good.
Thank God for that. Thank God for that. But with the songs that you guys had, one of the biggest ones was TSOP too,
Mhm.
which was the theme song for Soul Train.
Yeah.
But that didn't necessarily have you guys' name on it in the way that it should have. It wasn't like a 3 Degree song per se.
No. No.
Um, so was that ever frustrating for you guys to say it's one of the biggest, like it's played everywhere because of Soul Train now? It's the theme song to a show that's running, a musical show that's running, and we aren't necessarily getting our name out there as well with it.
Well, quite some time ago, we learned, and that probably was kind of one of the reasons why we decided to leave the United States and try other countries to build on, because we have not received, in my opinion, a lot of the accolades that we should have gotten when we should have gotten them.
Yeah.
And yeah, initially it did hurt, because you kept thinking, okay, well, they recognize so and so and so and so, but we did more than so and so. So why? You had to just let it go. You
Yeah.
just had to just say, okay. And when we say to people that we are the vocals on the TSOP, they're surprised. And it was like, I was wondering, because that's the, I said, mm-hmm. Yes, it happened really by accident, because we were in the studio at the time working with Gamble and Huff on
Okay.
our own album. And they pulled us aside and said, okay, we got this track that we need some vocals on, come in and give it a listen, and see what you can come up with. And it just happened. It just happened. So yeah, we fortunately, you're fortunate enough to get our royalties, so that works.
Okay.
Now, a lot of times you don't get that either.
True.
So,
True.
you know, so you just have to say, okay, another one bites the dust. Thank you very much, and move
Right.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's so I'm not gonna say it's strange because people do it all the time. They still do it
Yeah,
now.
they do,
Um,
and even they have programs and conventions,
yep.
and you think, okay, well, maybe one of these they're going to ask us, can you come in? It's like, no. Well, I think we did one in Atlantic City.
Hmm.
When Gamble and Huff were there, it was a whole bunch of other Philadelphia artists as well, and we did it with Bunny Siegler and Gene Kahn, and that was about it. That was about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really wish that people would just give credit where it's due.
It would
Um,
be it would
but
be nice.
in a perfect world, right? But we're not in a
There you
perfect
go. There you go.
world.
There you go. Just keep on
Because
moving.
yeah, that was so big, especially with the explosion of Soul Train and people finding out about it. And it was something really for Black people now to see artists that they love perform, even if they weren't singing live. They didn't know that, but uh, it was something so much bigger because you had American Bandstand, but this was for
Yeah.
Black people. So it was like it was right there, and you could have, did this.
I was happy that we were able to do it, and that
Yeah,
really we did get the recognition, for it.
yeah.
It was a good thing. It was a good thing.
Yeah. I'm thinking about the Philly International record label and the artists that were there. There was a myriad of artists that were just,
Oh yeah.
I mean, dripped in so much talent. Like it was crazy from you guys to Billy Paul and McFadden and Whitehead.
Our
And
Melvin Blue
that's
Notes.
right. That's right. Even
Oh,
the Jones girls came at one point. Yeah.
yeah.
So how did you guys get along with the rest of the I'm not asking that question to say that you fought with any of them now.
Well,
uh,
as I told you before, we had a very very small uh entourage, if you want to call
mm,
it that. Three
okay.
of us and Richard. Okay, the three of us and Richard. He kept us, like I said, on a tight leash. We didn't really get to. We were constantly busy, so that was one reason we never really got a chance to hang out with everybody. But basically, all the work that we were doing always took us out of country. So
Okay.
whenever the groups would get together and possibly be doing things, we wouldn't be available.
Oh,
So it's like you never really got a chance to be in that family picnic situation.
right. Oh man. Well, you live and you learn. But you
Yeah.
guys now you guys
When
now
will I when Melissa again became #1 and we were on tour in Japan. And we received a phone call. Richard received a phone call from Kenny Gamble
yeah.
telling him that we made #1.
Mm,
Yeah.
wow. That's crazy. Um I can imagine how was the song being received over there at that time? Do you remember?
Oh, when it hit, it was beautiful. It was
Yeah.
it was everywhere. Yes, yeah. And you could not really go. And when we did go over to Europe, we did a lot of TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
And like you say, the way that they treat artists is totally different from it's not totally different, but it's a bit different from over here.
Yes.
Once you've saturated the television, they know what you look like. So,
Yep.
like Michael Jackson, you can put on whatever you want to put on. They're still going to know that it's you. So you had to get used to the adoration from fans, and it was nice. It made you feel special. It made you feel like you were truly appreciated for your artistry. So it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I just got one last question about the 3 degrees, and then I want to talk about your solo album because I can't keep you all day. Um, I mean, we can go all day, but I can't do that. But as far as you looking at the career that you've had with the 3 degrees,
Yeah.
even up to now, of course, everything hadn't been good. Everything won't even be bad. There'll be good, there'll be bad, and some in between. But when you look over that as a whole, from the pitfalls to the uprisings, all of that great stuff,
Mm.
What kept you sane for one? Because you went through member changes, you went through
Mhm.
record label changes, you went through the manager changes, you went through
Yes.
right, you went through all of that. So what kept you sane, really, and what kept you from saying, you know what, let me hang the shoes up for this, let me do something else?
I like what I do. I love what I do. I that in a nutshell.
Mhm.
So because it's such an enjoyment to me. Like I said, I enjoy that 70 minutes or that hour and whatever, that we spend out there on the tarmac.
Yeah.
And because you touch so many lives, that when sometimes we usually do a meet and greet after the show where people can come back and they can get autographs and you take pictures, and
Mhm.
sometimes you get into these really long stories that they want to tell you about when they first heard your song and how it made them feel, and the fact that you bring people together, the fact that for that time that you are out there, whatever else has happened during their day, you want to try and at least give them that time frame of enjoyment,
Right.
an uplift if possible, a moment to just forget about everything else and just enjoy.
Yeah.
And I feel that give and take when I hit the stage. I feel that energy from them, that oh my gosh, we're singing this song and we're singing it with 3 degrees, and and they're singing to you. And
Yeah.
I get a charge because when you record stuff, sometimes you overdub different parts. So, and only being 3 people, you cannot get out there and sing all those parts. So
Exactly.
it's just, you get a chill. I get a chill when they are singing the other parts back to us. So it's like a give and take there. So the joy that they get and the joy that I get from them is what has kept me here for 55 years now, I think it is. um I do it. Like I said, I like to sing and I enjoy what I do, and
Yeah.
I enjoy watching the expression on your face change,
Mhm.
from oh yeah, to bring some type of enjoyment.
Yeah. But 55 years, and that's crazy that you say that because you don't even look anywhere near that.
Well,
Um,
thank
in all honesty, you really don't. I'm being honest. You don't look anywhere near that. So God has been good to you in some kind of way. I can tell.
the guys performers, they turn gray, the stomach gets bigger, and it's fine, but we develop a few little wrinkles here and maybe put on a little weight there. It's like everybody wants to come down on you,
Oh yeah.
you have, so it kind of makes you self-conscious, and you have to just kind of think, okay, it is what it is, okay, and I'm not going to be pasting and cutting and stretching. No, it is what it is, and I thank God that it is what it is. I mirror it sometimes and I see my mother looking back at me, so I always use that to kind of cheer myself. Good morning, Mom. But it's a business that is not very nice to the women, but they let the guys get away with a lot more than they let us do. So thank you very much. I do appreciate that.
Of course, of course. So now I want to close the chapter on the 3 degrees, as far as the interview, not in life, of course.
Mm,
And let me just say, shout out to every woman who's ever been in the 3 degrees, past and present,
yeah, yes,
because that is so important.
we are celebrating the 60th anniversary.
Yes, yes. Thank God for that, and congratulations to you all for that. It's been a
Yes.
long, long time coming, and
Mm,
you guys are still here celebrating it. And thanks to you for keeping the legacy of the group alive, because it is because of you. So let me say that.
thank you.
So now I want to talk about your solo album, In Bloom,
Mm,
that you released
mm,
for 2021, I think it was.
yes.
Um, Talk to me about this album. Why you decided to release a solo album at this time, one, and what went into picking the songs that you sing on this album?
Okay. The first, because I had been I wanted to do this for years. I started doing it in what 2010, and we got distracted. I got distracted because other things took over, so I had to put that on the back burner so I could concentrate on what we as a group needed to do. When we kind of got settled and started rolling again, I thought, okay, if I just take the time that whenever we come home to go into the studio and just lay down some tracks of, and I had a tablet that for years I've been writing down songs that imagined recording. I also went to New York at the Iridium and did a solo performance at the Iridium, and it was absolutely. I was petrified initially because I am so programmed to have two other people, on stage with me, that I felt really, really lonesome and very, very scared for a moment there. Concentrate on, okay, Val, just studio and record bits till finally, and if it didn't work out, then I tell them, okay, no, we have to scrap that. I'll come back. I'll listen to that and see what I want to change on it. Because like I said, I like lyrics. And if you're going to, I wanted to do standards because I love the stories of them.
Yes.
And it was very important to me that I didn't sing, "What are you doing for the rest of your life?" like everybody else and their mother. I needed to change it around and pull it, not so that the song is not recognizable, but just so that the song has a different treatment because that's me.
That's right. That's right. So let me just go down the list of songs. So there's 7 songs on here. So you have All I Do, Just the Way You Are, Here's to Life, one of my favorites, One Good Reason, How Do You Keep the Music Playing, Under My Skin, and What Are You Doing on Here? So like I said earlier, your approach to a song is really immaculate. So you really have an ear for doing that kind of thing. I can tell in listening to the tracks that you sing lead on. So just I don't know who's to blame for that, but thank you. Because
Only me.
okay, well thank you then. You know what? Because everybody can't approach a song in the way that you do. So I do appreciate that. And then you make it again your own. You still give me that emotion in it. I can believe what you're saying, even though I know it's not your song. I can still believe what you're saying in that song. That's how good that you go in and you sing the song and you approach the song in that way. So yeah, Here's to Life is one that I heard probably a million times, right?
I love that.
One of the people that I love to hear sing that song was Mary Wilson from the Supremes. Love to sing. But hearing this version from you, I was like, oh, okay. It gave me something different, Yeah. So thank you for that. Is there any one particular favorite that you had from this set list?
Yeah. What are you doing the rest of your life? Because I was fortunate enough to record that when we did it in one of our concerts at the Royal Albert Hall. It's always been one of my very favorite songs. So it was like a dedication to my husband. So yeah.
Okay, I love that. Now, are you considering doing the part 2?
Yeah. Yes, he keeps badgering and saying, okay, you really do. And a few other people keep saying, you really do need to do another one. And I keep saying to them, okay, and as soon as I get the time, and I'm pulling a song list together. I would like very much to do some original things in there as well. So I'm working with other writers to, see what we can come up with. So yeah, in future, God willing, yes.
All right. That's what I like to hear. I'm glad to hear this. Yes. So, I just want to again let people know what's next for you. I know the 3 Degrees are going on tour, so just remind
Mhm.
people that when you guys are starting, if you have the dates, and where you're starting at as far as the tour.
Oh, you know what? I'm bad. I'm so bad. I'm so bad. I know it's in September, and I think it's the 16th of September is our first date, and we are starting. It's so really mind blowing and wonderful. We're starting out in Amsterdam. They gave us our first number one with "Dirty Old Man."
Yes.
Uh, yeah, it hit the charts there, and just like everybody else just had to fall over and go with it. They were insistent upon that. And when we get ready to perform that song, oh my gosh, the roof just comes off, you know?
I
And
believe it.
we're going to do quite a few of the dates in the UK. I cannot tell you where they are, no, because I don't have the itinerary. But if you go to the 3degrees.com, everything is on there.
Okay, sounds good. Well, Miss Holiday, I thank you so much. Just let everybody know where they can find you personally, online as far as your Instagram,
Oh,
Facebook.
I've got a Facebook page, Valerie Holiday, and friends of Valerie as well. And of course, 3 Degrees. Yes.
That's right. Any other social sites, any Instagram or anything like that?
Yeah, I do have a little thing on Instagram. I'm still trying to work out how to do that darn thing. I'm trying to keep up with the technology and it keeps moving and changing. And it's like, okay, I know how to post here. I got Facebook down to science now, but I'm
Right.
still working on that Instagram thing. I'm still working on that.
Okay, okay. So if any other information, of course, like she said, go to the 3degrees.com.
Yes, yeah. The website there, and everything is listed.
Got it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is none other than the legendary Miss Valerie Holiday herself. Thank you again.
It was a pleasure. God bless.